Open your TVG wagering account now and get a 50% match bonus. Make your first deposit through a preferred deposit method, such as TVG Bet Cash, Me Got Money Pack, or wire transfer, and bet to get half credited back into your account. Go to TVG.com or call 1-888-PLAY-TVG.
Good evening, this is HorseRacingNation.com handicapper Jared Horak, and we're going to recap the two Kentucky Derby prep races that were run last weekend, the Florida Derby and the Louisiana Derby. Well, let's start with the Florida Derby. Union Rags was your heavy favorite, but Take Charge Indy, who looked like he could be the controlling speed on paper, he went right out to the front, and he was able to control the pace. He went 47.71, a 112.09 for the 6 furlongs, and he was able to just slow the tempo down, and he was able to go wire to wire for the upset victory. He did win by 1 length. Now the key to his victory was the fact that the 2 fractions in between the 4 furlongs and the 6 furlong fraction, he went 2 furlongs in 24.38. So he was able to slow it down in the middle of the race. Meanwhile, behind him, El Padrino was racing wide, and he was also he had Union Rags pinned in. So Castellano was aboard El Padrino, and his strategy was to pin in Union Rags and keep him trapped along the inside, and so that Julian Leparoux couldn't make a move, and then El Padrino would be able to get first run. Well, that really did happen, but the problem was that Take Charge Indy controlled the pace. Reveron, who was second throughout, he just raced in second all the way around the track, and those two just dominated the pace in that race. Now Union Rags was hemmed in along the inside, as I mentioned. He was stuck in traffic. He had nowhere to go, and then at the top of the stretch, running through the lane, he did get an inside opening. He finished up nicely. He was beaten a length and a neck, only a neck out of second place, and then he galloped out in front of the field. Now, that was a decent prep. He probably should have won the race, except the circumstances, as I mentioned, caused him to just miss. But he had already qualified for the Kentucky Derby on graded earnings, and he's still looking good. If he continues to train well leading up to the Kentucky Derby, he's still a major player. Now El Padrino could be in trouble on the graded earnings front. He has $250,000 in graded earnings. He's sitting, I think, around 19th right now on the list. There's plenty more graded races to be run, so he could be in trouble. He's on the bubble. He still needs to get in. Reveron's another one. He has $220,000 in graded earnings. Now Take Charge Indy, you have to look at it this way. He was able to, everything went his way. He controlled the pace. He did everything right, and he only got a 95 buyer speed figure. So that's probably the best that Take Charge Indy can do. That perfect circumstances, that's the best that you're going to get out of him right now. Where Union Rags has some trouble, he's better than that, and I think that in that race, I think that Union Rags is the one that you have to look for in the Kentucky Derby. Over to the Louisiana Derby, a slow 90 buyer speed figure. The winner, the shocking winner of that one, Hero of Order. He was over 100 to 1. He ended up stunning the field, tracking the pace in second, opening up, and then holding off Mark Valesky. He's not nominated to the Triple Crown Series, to the Kentucky Derby, so he won't make it into the Kentucky Derby. Your runner-up was Mark Valesky. Now, he did lose a shoe, and he did bruise his foot. He probably could have won the race, but he should have. Anyway, it was a slow race. It was a 90 buyer. He didn't get the job done. He does have $260,000 in graded earnings. He's just in front of El Padrino. He's kind of on the bubble as well. Then your show finisher, Rousing Sermon. He's in a little better shape than Mark Valesky or El Padrino. He's sitting at about $270,000 in graded earnings. And he's a closer. He makes his usual late run, but he just doesn't look good enough at this point. Now, this week we had the Wood Memorial featuring Alpha and Gemologist. Santa Anita Derby, Creative Cause is going to be your big favorite. And then we also have the $500,000 Illinois Derby. And the winner of that one will get in because they'll get probably about $300,000 in graded earnings. And the horse topping that list right now is Currency Swap. Now that'll wrap up this week's video race of the week. This is HorseRacingNation.com handicapper Jared Horak. Good luck at the races.